everybody. Hope you are all well. Now this tutorial was inspired by a little charity shop visit. Does anybody like a good look around the charity shops? I really do. And even if I don't buy any jewellery, I do like to have a look because there's an array of different styles and you can get inspiration from them. And more often than not, sometimes it's just as cheap to actually buy it, donate a bit to charity, and then you've got the piece ready to have a look at. And so it's not word for word, so to speak, with the project, but it was inspired by. So we've got a combination of a necklace, beaded necklace part here, and then we've got thread at the back. Now it's actually made to match this outfit, the one that I've done. I don't know if you can see, I've got a little bit of red in there as well. Right, here we go. And this little section here is from one of the crackle glass beads, the 10mm. I've got some 5/6mm. These yellow ones here are crystal rondelles that refer to the actual shape of the bead as well. And I've got some little bead caps in there and some sort of Celtic knot beads. So most of them you can get from the group thread. So this element here is done with tiger tail, which is this type of thread if you've not worked with it before. And the other element is a waxed cotton, and we're using ribbon ends, calottes, which are like clamshells down this end, and your usual findings at the top. So the one I'm going to use tonight, which is also in the sale, these are absolutely beautiful. So that's what I'm going to be using for this element. Now we could use a bead board, but, and most of you I think will be familiar with a bead board, which just helps you to design things, but to be honest it can be a bit tricky getting the whole bead board in the visual. So I'm just going to use the bead mat. I've got a few extras just to add in as well, and I'll give you the measurements. Now let's just measure this, and so it's about 10 inches for the front section. Now this is 9, which is kind of good because it gives me a bit of wriggle room to add a few things in. What I'd really like your help with as we're going is think about perhaps other things that we can use this method for, or different types of beads. You know, you can use ceramic beads, acrylic beads, some really big statement beads. So I'm going to cut 12 inches of thread to give me plenty to work with. And what we're going to do first of all is work with the calotte. So we need to get in a bit closer so that you can see what I'm doing. So that's your calotte. I love these because they're double-ended, which means they've got pre-formed loops both ends. And this is what it looks like when it's done. We're going to pop the tiger tail through the hole at the bottom, and then we're going to pop the crimp bead on the end there. So we're going to squeeze the end using our chain nose pliers, and then either with your fingers or with the chain nose pliers we're going to join those two together. And then the next thing we're going to do is start stringing. we've come to the end of that. So we've got the calotte on, so you go through the bottom, and I've popped a crimp bead on there. Now you want to make sure there's no gaps in between your beads before you do this, but you're going to get your chain nose pliers on. So you need to make sure you've got a good clamp on that, because otherwise when you seal it up it will just come undone. And the best way to do that is literally just check to make sure it's sturdy. So I'm going to trim off the excess using my side cutters, and then I'm going to close that up like so. If we look at this one, I am just going to pop some jump rings on there so that I've got something to thread the cord through. With the jump rings, I've got my flat nose pliers, I've got the slit of the jump ring at 12 o'clock, and with my other set of pliers I'm just going to open that up and hook that in those two loops and close that up. Do the same the other side. I'm going to do something a little bit different on this one to the sample piece. I'm going to use 2 strands, well 4 strands effectively, rather than just the 2. There we are. This is waxed cotton. It's available at the moment in sort of an ochre colour, in the brown, and in like a beautiful grey colour. We're doing just double. You obviously need to work out how long you want the necklace, but what I've done on this one is I've got one piece that is approximately 7 inches. On this one, about 9 inches there. Okay, so 2 long strands halved in a... Right, so I'm popping both of those through that jump ring, and I'm going to bring both of those ends together, and unlike this one where I've just left it plain, I'm going to do an overhand knot. So I'm just making a circle, and I'm going to pop all 4 ends through there and guide that down so that the knot just sits above that ring. I just thought that was quite a nice extra to do. Just a simplified version. On this one I've just kept it straight, so you've got the option of either. Let's do the other side. And there. You might prefer it without the knot, that's okay. Right, I'm going to trim these all off so that they're the same length. You can get ribbon ends in different sizes. These are quite small, but I'm going to be using, these are 4.5mm in thickness with a hole at the end to put your findings. What we're going to do next is bring all those threads together, pop all the 4 strands in there, making sure that they're all pretty level. The way it works, it reminds me of fold-up boxes. So if I just turn it on its side, you can see you've got a lip either side. So I'm going to use my flat nose pliers to guide that down to flatten it like so, and then I'm going to just swizzle it round the other side, pop that at an angle, and just pinching the sides just to bring it in a bit more. And So what you've done is you've encased that, and then you do that the other end. And flatten. Now as you can see, I've got some excess at the end there. And just to finish off, we are going to add our findings. So I've got an extender chain, so you can vary the length. I've got a lobster clasp and 2 jump rings. So again, flat nose pliers, the slit in the jump ring at 12 o'clock, and just baby movements. So you're just opening that up, pop that through the hole at the end of the ribbon end, and either the extender or the clasp goes on there, and then close that up. Just like to give it a little squeeze. And that's a relatively quick project, isn't it? And that really is the sort of thing that you'd go and buy from the high street. There's lots of things like this that you can get from the high street, and I just love the fact that it's part beaded. That was the one that I made to match, and it's very comfortable to wear. This is the one we've made tonight. You can make it a bit lower in respect of, if you want less beads, you can have less beads and more of the thread. If you want to, you can make it longer. And that's enough from me. I'm going to love you and leave you. Speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye.